Excellent job. You were pushing it at the end. I know she actually lost her voice like the day before yesterday, so let's give her another round of applause for like hammering it out. Rawr. So we're like just 2 away. We're very close, coming to an end. I know we're all thinking about where's the next cocktail coming from, so we'll try to make it quick. So next up is Zach Denfeld. He's going to talk about learning from Bangalore, urban informatics at the street level. Zach, come on.
Thank you. So I guess I'm going to be the court jester a bit tonight. So I want to tell you about learning to leapfrog. The last 4 years I've been going back and forth from Bangalore, India, looking at informal urbanism in the way that emerging media is adopted by the street. And I want you to think about this and how it might play out as our country faces challenges. So in the absence of hard infrastructure and municipal services, citizens that live in villages or in slums use information services, mobile technology to do bottom-up organizing and create value. And with some of these challenges may be able to learn from some of their experiences, particularly in terms of influx back into the cities and suburbs becoming something like villages once again. So what's happening in contemporary India and why do you care? Well, the rich in cities are moving to the edges. This is a gated community, and there's no provision for economics within these gated communities, so all the products have to be driven in and people have to drive to work. New urbanism hasn't taken off in India. In fact, high modernism rules the day, and you might wonder what the air conditioning costs of a building like this are. And so we need to find ways to take into account these hidden and long-term environmental costs of buildings such as this, and I think IT services might be able to do that. This is an example of a street that I waited for 40 minutes to cross, I kid you not, with all of my pedestrian peers, because there's a privileging of the automobile, much like in our own society. Luckily, I had my cell phone, so I made some calls and sent some texts. But there was a fear that if you put in a light, it would reduce throughput. We might want to look at things like transportation innovation. So when oil hits $300 a barrel sometime in the next few decades, which it eventually will, we could look at shared use scenarios like this, hacking a Harley Davidson and turning it into a town taxi for 8 people. And in Bangalore, traffic is a total disaster. There's a perception that throughput is the main thing, and the built environment is created primarily for the car at the expense of all others. And I challenge you to make maps and other visualizations that help us challenge that normative practice. Every day, my commute from my 2 jobs within Bangalore, India took 2 to 4 hours, and so I caught up on my TED Talks and my Ignite Talks, and I wasn't the only one. People were always listening to FM, radio on their cell phones, sending texts, downloading videos. That's what the internet looks like in emerging economies. And I don't want to romanticize the slums and informal settlements, but I think that these will actually be the viable communities in the coming decades because of the density and diversity of economic activity, the walkability. They're actually kind of nice places to be. In this country, we do some industrial ecology, we do some informal reuse, and it's going to become more and more normative. So how can we use information services and design strategies to make practices like this safer and smarter? And we can build in some resilience into our own waste streams. I would imagine that in the future, you'll continue to have Hollywood, but you'll have increasingly more local celebrations and protests. This was an amazing wedding procession I saw, and some nice hacked technology. It's a Casio going through a car battery, going through God knows what else. In some cases where the state can't enforce laws in real time, people take it into their own hands. This is the Blank Noise Project, where people use mobile media to call attention to and prevent sexual harassments, and it's much things like Cop Watch using mobile media to keep the powerful honest. Increasingly, people, particularly in India, are aware of wellness as being not only about one's own body and youth, but it being about a relationship between the built environment and the natural environment. And as we increasingly have DIY environmental sensors, I'll be interested to see how we incorporate that technology. In a lot of cases, water, food, and sanitation measurement and maintenance is left to citizens because the state has absconded that responsibility. And sometimes that's empowering, and sometimes that needs to be improved. Part of that is getting people out from their computer screens and into the field. So citizen hackers need to be doing data collection. It forces them to deal with human and non-human concerns beyond just mashing up civic data. One really interesting example is the Jaga. This is a place called architecture as blog. It uses simple palette rack technology, and it's basically an RSS feed of the city in real time, and commenting is very easy. You walk in, and it's been very successful populating an abandoned block. On my right, you'll see a light that the community can control. So just turn it on and off when your neighborhood needs it. And I challenge you to think of other small, iterative, physical adaptations. And as one other interesting idea, a collaborator of mine suggested that tweets get sent out whenever a brownout is coming and says, if you turn off the air conditioning, we'll leave on the cricket match. And that's a really smart grid that's really cheap, and I think it would work. And so I'm interested in those technologies. Thank you, and if you want more info, I'm putting up a page with the links of some of the slides and images and places that I've shown.